So what are some of the key obstacles that you face during a short sale?
Okay, I can cite a few. Unfortunately or fortunately, yes, we do get our share of issues when it comes to dealing with short sales. One of the main ones that I personally can vouch for is the new buyer for the property. So for example, I've now listed your property for sale, and I've successfully been able to put in a marketing campaign which has been able to bring a buyer who is interested in purchasing your property. When I say you are the seller who's having the hardship, for example. The buyer is going to make an offer on the property, and then if you accept that offer. So you are accepting that offer, and the premise of that is you're saying, I'll take this offer and now let's present that to my lender, to your lender, so that they can work towards either approving or not approving that purchase price and other terms of that short sale.
Okay, so if I'm the seller and you're the buyer, okay, go about it as if
Okay, you're the seller.
Okay.
Now, I'm the realtor
Okay.
who is successful, who's marketing your property so that I could find a ready, willing, and able buyer to purchase your property. So here's a buyer. This buyer says, for instance, I'm going to pay $200,000 for Lauren's house.
Okay.
There, I go through and prepare an agreement, a contract, which is duly signed by the buyer and yourself. Now that becomes an executed contract, and I present it to your lender, who we're petitioning for them to take a short payoff against the outstanding balance that you owe them, correct?
Correct.
The process, when it starts the day both parties sign on a contract, which becomes an intent to purchase for the buyer. The decision for that purchase price and all the terms and conditions in the contract lies not with you, but with your lender. So the weak link in this whole process, the biggest challenge that I face is the time it takes for your lender to make a decision could make the buyer decide to find some other property, because it doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes it will take months before your lender will come back and decision the fact that whether they're going to be okay, they will be accepting the short payoff or not. And they could very well come back and say, no, we're not approving this. And in that case, there's definitely a element of risk involved for the buyer, because they have to be sure about that this is the property they want, and they also have to be prepared that they may not get this property after waiting for 2 months. So think about it this way: if you were the buyer, and when you knew other properties are coming on the market all the time, your motivation can get questioned time and again, that should you still stick with this property and wait for that hopeful decision, or should you start looking at some other properties? So that's one challenge. Another one that I face is the complication that comes up in when I'm petitioning your short payoff request with your lender. For certain reasons, the lender may come back and approve it, but they put some stipulations in the approval letter which may not completely, for the lack of a better word, let you off the hook of the amount that they're looking to forgive you, correct? And there's different things that they do, that some of the lenders do. So my job is, when I take your property up for sale, I would give you your worst case scenarios in front of you before you were to sign an agreement to list your property with me, because I want you to be fully aware of what could happen. Correct? Okay. So that's one challenge I face, that the seller, at the end of the 2 or 3 months process, when we have an approval from a short sale, may decide that, well, this was not the right option for them, because they thought they were going to be pardoned off the whole, or forgiven the whole amount, but now your lender is telling you that I will forgive the amount, however, I will report this amount as income for you for 2011, or the year that you're approved in, thereby you may have some tax implications. Okay. So that's one of the aspects, not to go too much in detail, but the short answer definitely is you're looking at a transaction which has a lot of steps that have to go. It has to go through those steps, and one will only follow the other. We cannot foresee all steps in one time. We will have to kind of wait through a certain time period, and the other steps will come up. And anytime those steps can make the whole thing fall apart.
So going back to what you said, as if I was the seller, it would be up to my lender to make the final decision. What would you say is a benefit for a seller to do a short sale?
Okay, that's a great question, of course, because you want to identify what's in it for the...
Right, what would be in it for me?
Okay. let me give actually, if you will give me the permission, I'd like to answer this for all the parties involved.
Okay.
What is the benefit for all the parties in this thing?
Great.
That would be, in general, of course, not too specific. For the buyer, the benefit is that they're able to get a property which is possibly below market value as of today, because they're able to make an offer on the property where the decision for accepting that payout, or decision for accepting that purchase price does not lie with the actual owner, which is the seller, which is you. However, it lies with your borrower. So if I'll take it back, your lender.
Okay.
So if your lender is okay with the certain purchase price that this buyer is paying, this buyer is happy because they're getting a great deal on it, right?
Right.
What's in it for you as a seller, and as a borrower, is the fact that you're looking at a situation where your credit is dramatically going worse.
Right.
Because you're behind on your monthly payments. Now your 30-day delinquent is turning to a 60-day to 90 to 120-day delinquent. And you are looking at a situation where there's a foreclosure looming on your head. Meaning if you don't become current on your monthly payments with your lender, eventually they're going to knock on your door and they're going to say, please leave this property.
Okay.
And that would mean that we are repossessing your property. So in other words, when you look at a repossession, people think about cars getting repossessed. The terminology when you look at that applies to homes getting repossessed is called foreclosure.
Okay.
So the bank can foreclose, or your lender can foreclose on you, and you don't want that to happen. The reason why you don't want that to happen is because it will have worse credit ramifications on you, and it could prohibit you from purchasing another home for a lot longer than had you gone through with the process and told your bank that please go ahead and accept a short payoff. So we've established the benefit for the buyer, we've established the benefit for the seller. What's the benefit for the lender? The lender is not in the business of owning properties. They're not in the business of owning real estate. They make money with deposit services by going ahead and juggling people's deposits, people's cash. They make money by loaning money to borrowers, and they make money with other banking services. They don't make money by owning property and reselling it. So for them, there is no motivation for them to go foreclose on their property unless they absolutely have to do that.
Okay.
All right? Now, so for the benefit for the bank is if they go ahead and now agree to a short payoff, the best case scenario is the fact that if they foreclose on your property, which is the only other option they have. Either they approve you, correct? Mm-hmm. Or they foreclose on you. And when they foreclose on you, they get possession of the property. With that lies and comes a responsibility that comes with the house, which could be third parties trying to stake claims against this property. For example, your homeowners association, the local tax authorities, your real estate taxes, because now the bank becomes the owner, correct?
Correct.
So they want to discourage that as much as they can.
Okay. Is it true that you have to be short to do a short sale? I'm totally kidding. Last
It
one.
may not be true to that. I'd like to answer that question.
Okay.
It's not true that you have to be short to do a short sale, but it is true that you have to pick a short, handsome-looking real estate agent who is a certified distressed property expert.
Okay, so.
You can delete this.
So,
Obviously.
last question. What makes you an expertise in this?
Besides the fact that I like to call myself an expert, no. Well, now that is again a question that's almost like kind of giving a pat to yourself in the back. I'd rather you pose this question to some of my colleagues and my peers. However, I feel that I'm the right person for this job, and the job is for whoever's out there who is going through a financial hardship and they would like to talk to me about the options that they have in order for them to be able to successfully do a short payoff, a short sale of their property. The benefit that they will get from me is I have a tremendous amount of experience behind my back. I represented both buyers and sellers in numerous short sale transactions, all the way leading up to today, pretty much. And I have also taken the step to educate myself with the right level of training that is provided. There is a very reputable organization which is called Certified Distressed Property Expert. I'm fortunate enough to have taken their certification, which allows me to be completely abreast with the laws and the issues that are currently that needs to be worked on in this industry. So I have the certification, I have the education, and most importantly, I do have the credentials to back it because I've done numerous of these. Besides that, certain things apply in general real estate as well. I'm very, very motivated in this industry. I plan to be in this industry for a very long time. So I will do a good job for them, and I will do the right thing.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed it, and to learn more about this multi-million-dollar producer, please go to www.jacksonvilleguru.com. I'm Lauren Santagati with Team AJ Agarwal.